Hello, my name is Tom Hayes, Director of Customer and Community Relations for New Jersey Natural Gas, and I'm fortunate to be your host for SCAN's Community Connections program, where we talk to folks from Monmouth and Ocean County about the wonderful programs that they provide in our service areas here and all the wonderful things that they do throughout the year. Today we're very fortunate to have Doug Eagles, who's the Executive Director of the Boys and Girls Club of Monmouth County, here with us to talk about their program. So Doug, I want to welcome you for being here with us. Appreciate you taking your time.
Got it.
I know you guys do a wonderful job. I know you've been there for several years doing the good work that you do. I guess really what we want to let our audience know is kind of programs that you offer there and all that. We know they're very valuable more than ever. You know, youth programs are really key in society today. Yeah. But certainly you guys do a great job, and I'm really glad you're here and can tell our folks really about all the programs that you do. So tell us a little about the Boys and Girls Club and the kinds of programs that you offer.
Sure. So we have two units in Monmouth County. We have one in Red Bank and one in Asbury Park. Basically, we provide after-school programming throughout the school year. Things like gang prevention programs, life skills training programs, career development, college-bound programs, any type of program that we can provide these kids that will empower them to succeed in life. In addition to the after-school programming, we have our summer camps, and those are a little bit more robust. They're usually 10 hours a day, 5 days a week, 8 weeks throughout the summer months, and those are just full-on high enrichment programming, recreational programming, anything that we can do, again, to empower these kids and to keep them engaged and to keep them off the streets. Because, you know, the primary mission of the Boys and Girls Club is to provide a safe place for kids, especially those kids who need us most. And so as long as we can get the kids to keep coming to the club, we know that they're going to be safe and they're going to be in good hands.
Right, right. And again, you've always done a great job. Even I know before you were there, and folks in my company have been involved with your organization since, I don't know, maybe day one. But you really do a great service. And you know, the environment today in general is not the best for youth, and you know, there's rampant drug use and addiction problems and all kinds of issues out there. But you happen to be in some areas that are a little rougher than most, right? So tell us a little bit about the environment that these kids are in, that you know, that you're helping them to kind of get a breather from.
Sure. Yeah. So you know, Asbury Park, which is where our flagship organization started in 1938. We've been there for quite some time. And that city alone has gone through many transformations over the years, and currently it's a pretty dire situation for the kids that we work with. You know, recently I got my hands on a map that the police department released that showed all the shootings that occurred in the past 16 months. And it's interesting because you look at that map, and there was, you know, somewhere over 60 to 70 shootings that have occurred in Asbury Park, and it's a very small city, 16,000 people, 1.2 square miles. But interestingly, the majority of those shootings are concentrated on the southwest quadrant of the city. And it's exactly where the Boys and Girls Club is located. We're right in the middle of all of those shootings, which is it's a mixed thing for me. It's mixed because, you know, that's where these kids are growing up, and that's not necessarily the ideal. But the good thing about it is that we're there. We're right in the heart of it. We're there providing a safe place, a haven for these kids to come to. Every day after school, all throughout the summer, these kids, if they're in our club, they're going to be safe. They're going to be safe off the streets, away from the influence of the gangs, away from the influence of the drug dealers, and in an environment where staff are caring for them and loving on them in a way that allows them to dream about the future and to think positively and have hope for the future.
Right. You know, and as a company, we've been involved with Asbury Park forever, but it is amazing, that particular quadrant of the town, how many issues there are to deal with. And as you know, we're doing home ownership programs there, and a lot of groups come together to try to help over there, but it's still just not enough. It's still not enough. There's these, as you said, these shootings and things like that going on. And I, you know, as you know, been to your club many times. You do a great job. You run a wonderful club. I mean, to have a swimming pool and all those kinds of features right there, and all those things that the kids wouldn't normally get. You know, it's spectacular. I just wish, as you do probably, that every kid that needs it could be in there. You know, I know you service a lot of kids, but there's more kids out there that really should be at the Boys and Girls Club instead of being on the streets and being, you know, really they're falling prey every day to the gangs and you know, different issues that go on there. So again, I think it's certainly a great program that you offer there, and thank God you are there, and I mean that sincerely. Now that school is out, right now it's summertime and all that. What goes on in the summertime for your
so like I mentioned previously, we run a summer camp, and it's It's a highly engaged, highly enriching program that we offer these kids. From 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. we provide breakfast and lunch and a snack. We do everything from arts and crafts projects to martial arts classes to swimming in the pool to educational programs like literature circles, where the kids are reading books, and we have the older kids reading to the younger kids, and they're learning about how to remember content in the books that they're reading.
Right.
Things like that that really keep the kids engaged, but also provide them with a high quality camp experience.
Right. Which is great. And now, you're talking about the summer programs and all that, and we know there's what they call the summer slide or the summer learning loss, right? So I'm assuming that part of this curriculum that you have at these camps is to help with that.
Yeah. So we, being Boys and Girls Club, we have a kind of a national affiliation with the Boys and Girls Clubs of America, and the power behind that is the Boys and Girls Clubs of America can develop some high quality programming and curriculum materials that we're able to get access to because we are a Boys and Girls Club.
Right.
So recently, in fact, last summer, we piloted a program for Boys and Girls Clubs of America called Brain Gain. And it was a curriculum that they developed specifically to address that summer learning loss that occurs with kids, especially in under-resourced communities like Asbury Park and like the west side of Red Bank.
Right.
So the idea is, kids get out of school and they check out. Unplug their brains for 2 months. And what happens is those kids go back to school in the fall, and teachers end up spending the first 6 to 8 weeks reteaching things that these kids had already learned.
Right.
And over time, that compounds, and kids, they fall further and further behind. In more well-resourced communities, you have really well-resourced camps that these kids can go to where they're being given the resources they need to be engaged over the summer.
Right, right.
So in communities like Asbury Park, it's harder to provide those things, but with the Boys and Girls Club there, and with this curriculum that we have from Boys and Girls Clubs of America, we're able to do that. We're able to provide a high-quality, educationally enriching program for these kids.
Right. That's great, because again, as you say, even in more wealthy communities, or even just middle-income families, right? They go on vacations. They may read to their kids. There's different things that are giving them that stimulation over the summer, so that the loss isn't there. Like kids that just end up sitting at home watching television all day, and hardworking parents that they may be working all day, whatever it might be, they're just not getting any kind of real stimulation mentally that helps them, to stay on track, as you said. So
the environment that we provide at the club, I think, really does stimulate the kids in that way and keeps them engaged and keeps them moving forward academically, and that's critically important. In fact, we recently partnered with the United Way to expand our summer camp up in Red Bank to reach an additional 40 children up there with that Brain Gain curriculum, with the goal of increasing their literacy skills specifically. So
right, that's excellent. It's really, really wonderful. And now, well, your Red Bank area facility isn't too far from the ocean, but certainly the Asbury Park, obviously it's Asbury Park, it's right on the ocean.
Yeah.
So, now you're, in the summer months and all that sort of thing, what goes on in terms of teaching these kids how to swim? Yeah.
Well, thankfully at our Asbury Park facility, we have a 6-lane, 25-yard pool, so it's a pretty big pool. And again, dealing with the population that we deal with, the swimming is not a strong component of the culture of the children that we're working with. So in fact, childhood drownings among the African American population are significantly higher than amongst the general population. And being that we're located on the Jersey Shore, and a lot of our kids have exposure and opportunity to go to the beach, we want to make sure that they have the skills that they need to swim and to stay alive in the water. So we have lifeguards, and we have swimming every day at the club, and we teach the kids how to swim.
That's great.
Yeah, it's empowering. And in fact,
it is.
We have one of the great things about the swimming program is that it really builds the kids' self-esteem. It gives them a sense of self-confidence that carries over into other areas of their life. And it's exciting to watch that happen as they learn how to swim and grow in that confidence.
Yeah, I think often adults take for granted their impact on children, Sometimes you don't even think, I know my own kids, it seems like they're never listening, but yet years later they come out with the exact verbatim what you told them, and you're like, what the heck happened? But so, and with these kids there every day, they really are learning. And like you said, building that confidence is critical, because that very same confidence they're building in terms of learning and that sort of thing will also be that confidence that may say to them out in the street that, no, I'm not interested in a gang and I'd like to do my own thing, but, and move on, which is really
become more
what you want.
self-aware of what their value is and what they have to offer. and how
Right.
they can leverage that value into something better for themselves in the future.
Right. Now, you mentioned the Red Bank facility. I know that's a fairly, a few years it's been there, right?
Yeah.
How many years has it been
So
in
we've been there
there?
since 2009, so we're
Okay.
actually in our 6th year there
Nice.
in Red Bank, and it's been a growing unit. I mean, growing really rapidly, actually. In fact, our summer camp has a waiting list because
Wow.
we've maxed out our space up there.
That's great.
But we've gotten a really good reception from the Red Bank community. Again, our program's just growing exponentially up there, and my unit director up there has done a great job building key strategic relationships with other organizations and with community leaders in Red Bank to really strengthen what we can offer that community.
That's great. And again, those community relations are key. As an organization that funds a lot of organizations ourselves, we like to see when people are collaborating and working together
Yeah.
to do a program as opposed to two groups trying to do the same program on their own. It just doesn't make sense. And
Right.
I think with tight budgets for everyone, more and more we're seeing that, which is great. And,
Right.
and it's important because there's wonderful organizations out there, as you know, and if you can sort of share your services and all that, it makes your dollar go a lot
It
further.
really does.
And the dollar going further in the end really means you're helping more kids, which is
Yeah.
what it's all about, right?
Yep.
That's good. So now you mentioned also, with some of the summer stuff going on, there's a lot of camps out there around the area, and they're all great. But like for you in particular, your camps, what do you hope to see at your camps that to attract kids to your program?
Well, I think one of the key things that really makes our camp something attractive to a lot of people is the low price point, right? So we're charging Asbury Park families $50 a week for camp.
Wow.
And that works out to about $1 an hour.
That's really amazing.
You take that same camp and you dump it anywhere else in Monmouth County, you can charge $250, $300 a week.
Right.
But because of the population that we're serving, we want to make sure that we make the barriers to access to the high quality programming that we have as low as possible.
Right.
So we've even partnered with the city of Asbury Park to scholarship some of those kids at half that rate. So some of the kids in our Asbury Park programming are getting scholarships for $25 a week to go to camp.
That's incredible.
Now, of course, it's one of those things where we do a lot of work to make sure that we can provide the resources to make sure we can do that at a low price point, and we do that successfully. And then again, I mentioned earlier the partnership with the United Way. They scholarshiped 40 kids to our Red Bank camp, where those kids aren't paying anything. And
Right.
that's a great asset to be able to, or a great opportunity to be able to offer those kids.
Sure, absolutely. Now, I'm just wondering if folks wanted to get a hold of you to find out about these camps or your other programs throughout the year, what would be the contact information that you would give them?
So I would encourage them to call us at 732-775-7862, or go on our website at www.bgcmonmouth.org. Those are the two best ways to find out more about the club and to contact us.
That's great. That's really important. Again, I want to thank you for being here. So, you got a few minutes. Just tell me anything coming up in the near future for the Boys and Girls Club?
Yeah, we're actually undergoing some pretty significant renovations to our Asbury Park facility. Through a grant through the Snowflake Foundation, we are redoing our child care center, and we're also redoing our computer lab. And then through a partnership with Lowe's Home Improvement, we're going to be redoing our first floor of our facility.
Great.
So a lot of good things happening, and we're excited to
Excellent.
move things forward.
That's good. Always good talking to you. Again, God bless you. Keep up the fight, doing the great work that you're doing. We appreciate your being here at SCAN. And again, we really wish you the best of luck going forward.
Great, Tom. I appreciate it.
We'll be back in a few minutes to meet with another person that's really wonderful in our community. But for now, let's go to a commercial. Thank you.
Now's a great time to make your home more energy efficient, and the New Jersey Natural Gas Save Green project is here to help. Take advantage of rebates and incentives up to $15,000, designed to make your whole house more comfortable, improve performance, and save you money. Upgrade your older, inefficient heating equipment, central air conditioning system, and water heater with money-saving, high-efficiency equipment. But don't stop there. Your new equipment will have to work harder, wasting energy dollars if your home is not properly weatherized, by reducing air and duct leaks and installing proper insulation. Call the Save Green Project at 877-455-NJNG or visit SaveGreenProject.com, and we'll help you get on the road to maximum energy efficiency and savings, and explain how you may qualify for up to $15,000 in rebates and incentives. Call Save Green at 877-455-NJNG.
Hi there, welcome back. Again, I'm Tom Hayes, Director of Customer and Community Relations for New Jersey Natural Gas Company, and your host. for SCAN's Community Connection program. And for this part of the program, we're very fortunate to have two guests. We have Peggy Comfort, who's the Executive Director of Manna House, and Bill Schillberg, who's the Bob Schillberg, who's the board member, one of the board members for Peggy's organization, the Manna House. So again, appreciate you both being here with us today. You know, it's always nice to have folks from the community here telling us about the good programs that they do and the wonderful services that you offer to our community. You know, we would have a hard time without folks like you doing the good work that you do. So again, on behalf of all of us, I really appreciate your spending the time with us here today.
Thanks.
Really
Thanks
nice
for
having
having
us.
us.
Certainly. So tell me a little bit, how did Manna House get its start?
Manna House got its start back in 1987 when the numbers of homeless were rising to such a level in the county that the state really reached out asking each individual county to do something to address the problem. Here in Monmouth County, there were about 15 different congregations of various denominations who got together and formed Monmouth Neighborhood Housing, the parent corporation, for the program Manna House to address the issue here in Monmouth County.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah.
That's really wonderful. Now, who does Manna House help? So who are those
Specifically,
people?
we work with homeless women with children who, when they come to us, are receiving welfare and for various reasons have become homeless.
Gotcha. Okay. And about how many women and children are you serving since, or did you serve since the doors opened?
Since the doors open, we, total women and children combined, we have helped over 300 individuals now move into permanent housing.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah, it really is amazing to watch.
Must feel good.
It does, it does. It
And I
feels
know
very
because your
good.
last name is Comfort. I always say, you know, it must be comforting to the community.
Yes.
You do fit your name very well.
Thank you,
know?
thank you.
And how do women get there?
Well, when a family or an individual woman with her children find they're in need of housing, they typically will reach out to Monmouth County Division of Social Services. And they will go there and say, I need help. And the county has a program called Emergency Assistance. And it's through that program that the county kind of meets with the family first, sees what their needs are. Is it just a short-term issue that they lost a job and just need a little help till the next job, or are their needs greater than that? And for those who have long-term needs, get referred up to us at Manna House.
Gotcha. And as you mentioned, the county's, we've got a great county here.
Oh,
in
we have a
Monmouth County.
fabulous county.
They do a wonderful job.
Yes.
Monmouth County, I know the same in Ocean County. They we're very fortunate to have good folks out there really working hard
Yes,
to try to help
yes.
the folks in the counties that need it. And,
Yes.
you know, you never know when you're going to be one of those people that needs that help, right?
No, so many
it's-
people are paycheck away, so it's nice
Yeah.
to know that's there for them.
Yeah. So now when the folks are there, is there kind of an average day for folks? What do you find to be
They're typically with us for a full year.
Okay.
Some wind up staying longer depending upon their individual needs, what level of education they come in with, and how quickly they can then be prepared for job training and find employment.
Right, okay. And while the women are there, what kinds of things do they do while they're there?
Well, typically when they start out with us, the big goal, first off, of course, is to get the children in child care, which is provided by Child Care Resources here in Monmouth County. And there are similar organizations in Ocean County providing the same services. And once the children are settled in child care and where moms feel safe then going about their day, typically they will work first and foremost on their GED or high school diploma if they don't have one. That's the first priority. You're not going to find viable employment without that. So that becomes a priority, as well as participating in the county's Work First program. It's a statewide program. And typically our women will start out volunteering at some of the nonprofits in the area, which for then many who may not have work experience gives them an opportunity. What is it like to be able to get my children up, get them to daycare on time, get myself to my activity, and while volunteering their services, you know, have an opportunity to work in a work setting.
That is great. And I know you mentioned before you work with other organizations, right? Which again, I love that. You
Yes,
know,
yes. Yeah.
Again, that collaboration is so key.
Yeah, we
and-
couldn't do it alone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which is great. Now, how does this kind of program really help the women become, you know, more self-sustaining and you know, really be stable for their
Right.
future?
For most of the women, really all of the women by the time they leave us are already working. So they have completed perhaps their GED, then they go through formal job training. They work with the Monmouth County Department of Workforce Development, who will help them in placing them in training as well as paying for that training. So we have one woman who just completed a dental assistant program, another one completed a medical assistant. So now they have the skills needed to start working, and they'll work while they're still with us for about 2 months to make that new transition of the world of work and the work hours and the child care. So it really leaves them, leaving us ready to face that world of employment.
Right, right, which is great.
Yes,
Now, the
yes.
workforce, is that Eileen Higgins? Is that
Yes,
the candidate?
yes, that's
Yeah,
where
they do
Eileen's-
great work.
yes,
Yeah, so
yes.
She's excellent, and that
She's
crew does a
fantastic.
wonderful job. I have the good fortune to work with them on a lot of nonprofits and the different things, the programs that they provide.
Yeah,
In fact, I think even here at SCAN, they have some folks that have gotten, come through that program.
Yes.
Some granting to have some folks do great work here.
Yes,
So
yes.
that really is exceptional, again, being part of a good county that has a good system out there, right? That's
For
great.
sure.
So, obviously, a lot of these women, as you say, they come in as being homeless, and you do say that getting them the job and all that is obviously key for them to sustain themselves. But, just to prevent them from being homeless, sometimes it takes a little more than that, right? Is there anything else that you do, like training them how to deal with the home
A lot of
life
what
and-
people might call soft skills. And that's, how do you work with your coworker who might be a little annoying to you? You don't get up and leave a job because you don't like the person working next to you. How do you appropriately resolve conflicts in the workplace? If your boss is saying something, you don't think it's fair, you don't think it's appropriate. I always tell them living at Manna House is kind of life under a microscope, because they live in a community setting with 9 other families. It gives them that opportunity. They don't always become best of friends, but that's not really your purpose in being there, so it gives them that life skill of how do you do that, along with basic skills once they're in their apartment, your basic housekeeping. We work very closely with the women with our whole culinary life program, with nutrition and how important that is for them and their children.
Right.
Everybody needs to stay healthy if you're going to keep your job. So just a lot of those basic life skills that help each of us get through our daily lives that, some of these women have not had the opportunity. And for some, they come with it, and it's just kind of smoothing off the rough edges and enhancing what they come to us with.
Right. And, that nutrition is such an important part of daily living for all of us.
Yes.
But that, I think, is key for folks, because a lot of times in a lower income community, the food choices are so limited, and it's usually not the best and not the healthiest. And yet, you don't have to be rich to afford decent food if you know what you're going for, right? So that nutrition is key. And I think more than ever, there's so many allergies to food, and
Oh, yes.
gluten-free and dairy-free, and all these things that keep popping up, and their relationship to different illnesses. It's important, and that's-
again,
that's
our
key.
community supporters help us, because our pantry, we're very blessed, is always stocked. So sometimes we challenge the women to make 2 or 3 meals this week strictly from the pantry, so that you're saving your food stamps, that you're not running out of them by the end of the month.
Right.
And, so it becomes a fun competition to see, who's able to do that, who can do the most with what we have on hand.
Right. That's good, because we all like to eat.
Oh,
So
yes.
whatever it is, it's got to taste good, right?
Yes.
Especially with kids. Now, the funding for Manna House, now, it's not a government agency, right?
No, we are a private nonprofit, and I'm going to let Bob speak a little bit to the
Sure.
funding.
Actually, thank you, Peggy. Actually, Peggy deals with the day-to-day, so she's very knowledgeable about how the day-to-day operation goes. As a member of the board, I kind of look at it, we're there as members to try and oversee the general direction of where things are going.
Right.
We have several fundraisers that we do throughout the course of the year. I'm a relatively new board member. I've been there for about 2 years now.
Yes.
Right? But the big one is usually our fashion show, which is coming up in November. We have done a day at the races, which for me as a board member is great to go there, see other board members in a social setting, see people that are helping to try and raise the funds with us, to get to meet them, so other members of the community. Also, it's interesting for me as a board member, our board meetings are at Manna House, which I always find to be a great opportunity to see a slice of the life of the women. So we're there every month when we show up, and we're kind of like seeing what's going on. We see where they're making their food and how they're living. So for us, that's a great thing.
That is great.
But the fundraisers are the main key for us, and we all try to put in a little bit of time to help run the various fundraisers that help the operations during the year.
Well, you know, it's good information for our folks to hear, because I think a lot of folks out in the community basically just think that, well, the government gives them funding for that, or there's the county might give them all the funding for that, or whatever. And as you said, the county helps with different programs, but they don't necessarily keep Manna House open, you know, so we really, those
We're very
fundraisers are
lucky with the
critical.
Board of Chosen Freeholders that
Yes.
we do contract with them. But
Which is
again,
good.
it
Doesn't cover the whole nut.
It does not cover the whole thing.
Right,
No,
right.
no.
So
we need that support of the
fundraising, yeah.
community and the dedication of our board to
Right.
see that that happens.
That's great. It's good to have good board members.
Yes, it is.
Absolutely. You know
Yes,
how
it
critical
is.
that is, right?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Yeah, for sure. Now, what is you say is your greatest success stories? Do you have a story or two that you think is, you know, really?
I think most recently we had the Monmouth Ocean Food Bank has a culinary program, and probably up to 40 people apply. They accept 8, and one of the women getting ready to graduate was not only accepted into the program, but graduated as a valedictorian of the program.
Wow, great.
She completed the program the first Friday in April, and by the following Thursday, she started working at Bonefish. She has making more above average minimum wage, which is wonderful,
Great.
and her hours have increased to 40 hours a week.
Wow.
So that's very exciting to
That
see
is
somebody,
exciting.
you know, and so she's so excited about her field and loves it so much.
Oh,
So
that's
it's
great.
nice when you can help them through our career path curriculum, kind of explore different options and land where if you have to work, let's hope you're enjoying it.
Yeah. And you said that was through the Monmouth County Culinary Program?
Yes,
Is that in
yes.
the Asbury Park School?
No,
Is that
that's
one?
not that one. It's
Okay.
done right at the food bank.
Oh, no.
right at the
Oh, yeah,
food
yeah,
bank.
Yeah,
Yes.
Oh, boy, they do a great job,
Yes,
too.
yes.
Carlos and his group,
Oh,
right?
he's wonderful,
just-
yes.
There's so many wonderful nonprofits in our area. It's
Yeah,
really
and it's
good,
just
yeah.
great the way we all work together.
Yeah, for sure. That's excellent. Now, if folks wanted to contact you about your services, or maybe to provide help, or even
Sure.
to send some dollars, I'm sure you wouldn't
Sure.
turn those away.
Absolutely.
Would you be
Time,
able to give
money,
us-
we don't turn anything
yeah,
down.
right. So would you be able to give us the contact
Sure,
information?
sure. Our phone number is 732-566-8774.
Okay,
Someone's always there 24/7 to answer the phone.
great.
My personal email is, well, my work email is pegmanna@yahoo.com. And then our website is www.mannahousenj.org.
Okay, great. That's good. So hopefully some people listening out there will know. Oh,
Hopefully,
let's see if we can.
hopefully, we
yeah,
can always
always use the
use
help.
volunteers
sure.
of any kind, any talent you have. We're
That's great.
more than grateful to work with folks.
That's good. We have a little bit of time left, so is there any final comment, anything in particular that you wanted to mention out there to let our listeners know, or viewers?
Well, I think for everybody involved with Manna House, the volunteers as well as the staff, what's so amazing is to see how you really can, one life at a time, change people. We have a fabulous graduate support program. I have a full-time person working with over 80 of our most recent graduates, to the point that the children are now graduating high school and reaching out to her to help with college applications. So it takes years to see, but it really is one family at a time making a difference.
That's the one
great.
thing I was going to say, which I always found fascinating, was that there are people that have graduated from the program and they still come back to help.
That is
Which
beautiful.
I always find is a great
It is
thing. So
great.
it's just passing it on, you know.
And I know I had an opportunity to see your facility years ago.
Yes.
And I know you
Yes.
do a great job.
Thanks. Thank
and
you.
again, I appreciate your time, for both of you being here. Continued success to both of you, and keep up the good work.
Thank you, thank you.
Thanks,
Thanks
Tom.
again for having us.
Thank you. Thank you very much.